Hi, it's Lynn, your adulting coach. This video is a summary of Giancarlo Licata's 2022 TEFOS presentation about sleep and how it impacts executive function. Giancarlo is a neurofeedback professional in the Los Angeles area, and he helps map your brain during neurofeedback so you can identify the patterns that are underlying some of the ways that you feel and act so that you can train it and change it. He suggests that the biggest challenge to sleep is that we are dysregulated, and we can observe that through those scientific, EEGs and heart rates and all that. We can look at the data and know when we are dysregulated. And when we understand how to regulate ourselves, then we can restore executive function and perform better. But without that regulation, we're not going to. So what we want to do is lower our baseline so that it just takes more to get us dysregulated. So if you can't sit still, if you overreact, or if you're anxious, you are dysregulated. And let's talk about lowering the baseline so our lower, it will take us more to go we don't want to be at an 8 because it's a quick step to a 10. We want to go to a 3 or a 4, so it takes us longer to just burn out. We want to lengthen the fuse on our dysregulation. And the impact that this has on our executive function is in the way that we're flexible, able to follow, and able to be fair. Now, all of us can get better or worse with our executive function, and we change how well we function in each one of these every day. Sometimes we have trouble getting regulated, so we can't follow a conversation, and that's because we just don't have enough self-control in the moment. Sometimes it's deeper than that, and we're being triggered by some little T trauma, or it's just the 50-50 of life. So we want to become more flexible. That's the first F in executive function, meaning that we want to be able to shift when the situation changes instead of being fixated on one way to do things or one way to think about things. Able to follow, the second F, includes holding all we need in executive memory and remembering those things in our working memory and remembering to do those things in those steps in order. This is that planning part of executive function, the way of getting things done in a linear way. And finally, fair really refers to self-control. In that moment, can you contribute and reciprocate in a conversation? You have to keep your own self in check. This type of self-control is just the foundation of so many parts of our lives. So what we really want to do is make sure we don't flip our lid, we don't, lose control of ourselves. And, it's really not that they can't control themselves or that they won't control themselves. It's just that they can't, because the brain has been shifted into defense mode where we just can't hear ourselves think. So it's really hard to manage it if we can't even hear it. And so what we want to regulate is how focused we are, whether or not we're awake enough, are the eyeballs glazing over, and are we stressed so that we just, and anxious so we just don't hear what's going on. So what we want to do is get more vigilant about the kind of sleep that we're going. Are we getting the REM sleep, the deep sleep, and enough sleep? So it's because poor sleep sabotages our executive function. Even one night's poor sleep can take our executive function from a 7 to 10 down to a 4 to a 6. With many nights in a row of poor sleep, our executive functioning can really bottom out. We really are less able to follow, where it's just cloudier. We're less flexible, we're more stubborn, we're less fair, so we're more impulsive. And sleep affects the people in my house a lot. Getting good sleep, not so easy on a regular basis. So let's talk about just the mechanics of sleep for a second. When we're sleeping, each of these cycles, the awake, the REM sleep, and all the different stages of sleeping repeat about 4 to 5 times a night, about every hour and a half to a little bit longer than that. And we want to make sure that if we don't have, if we have poor, deep, or REM sleep, a large portion of that happens at the beginning of the night. So if we stay up too late, we miss out mostly on deep sleep. And that causes us to be less fair or regulated. We tend to be more emotional, more on edge. If we have poor REM sleep, that happens mostly at the end of the night. So if we get up too early, we miss out mostly on REM sleep. And that means that that is associated with less thinking flexibility. We just get too rigid. And also working memory drops. So, and then overall reduced total sleep time means we're less fair, flexible, and able to follow, period. So here are 3 ways that we can get better sleep, therefore function better. What we want to do is match our chronotype with what our sleep habits are. And that's just the natural inclination of our body to sleep at a certain time. An early bird versus a night owl. And it also has an effect on our appetite. I know that when I don't get enough sleep, I tend to eat more impulsively. I can't lift as much weight when I exercise, and I guess my core body temperature goes up. I've never measured that. So, and it's also very reasonable that we feel more alert at different periods of time during the day and sleepier at others. So if we tend to get up early, if we tend to function better if we go to sleep early, then we really need to match that with our sleep patterns. If we tend to do better if we wake up later, and we need to make adjustments for that. And we, of course, you've heard this, we want to avoid evening saboteurs, those evening blue light times after 6. We really need to have a digital sunset sometime between 6 and 8 where we turn off our devices and wait to turn back on in the morning. Having something to eat that gets our metabolism going, our digestive system going after 7. Caffeine after noon, and any kind of stressful activities after 8 p.m. will affect the quality of our sleep. What can boost it is if we make sure that we get up in the morning and get outside. That'll get us going. If we sometimes can sleep in, that will help us get more rest and more of that REM sleep, which helps our learning. If we can exercise every morning, that's my favorite thing to do in the morning. It can help the chemicals in our body be the kind of chemicals that keep us really regulated during the day. And some say that a cold shower, okay, maybe just the last 20 seconds of our shower. I love my warm shower, so maybe it's the contrast between the warm and the cold that improves the way that our body functions from a chemical point of view. So Giancarlo argues that one of the quickest ways to help our child achieve the superpowers again, get them back, get them building the life that we love, is to help them restore their sleep. This was all presented at the Executive Function Online Summit in 2022. The 2023 summit starts August 11th. See you there. Bye for now.